One of the reasons I say there's a revolution is precisely this. The rate of technological innovation is breathtaking. And like all transformative technologies, the digital revolution has changed everything. What is clear is that our current ways of doing things are rooted in past times. And we have to rethink many of the things that we take for granted. Idaho has, I think, a massive opportunity. But you are part of this planet. So any solutions that you move towards for the reform of education have to take care of Idaho, but Idaho in this new global context. And that raises some fundamental issues. So that's my second big theme, really, which is that if we're to meet this revolution, we have to think differently. And the heart of the problem for me is that our current systems, and I don't speak about America just, I mean it's true in most European countries, it's true in Asia, they're based on an antiquated model. It was developed to meet the needs of the day, to meet the needs of industrialism. And it looks like an industrial model, doesn't it? But schools are organized on a particular model of managerial efficiency. And people who work in the system now have inherited it. And it's become part of the ideology of education. We have separate subjects. We don't need separate subjects, but we have them, when actually most of what happens within the different disciplines is common. I work a lot with scientists as well as artists, and they're often interested in exactly the same things. They just have a different take on it, a different angle of address towards it. For example, there's nothing that I know in the legislation that says you have to have 45-minute periods. I know grade schools who've thrown that out as a managerial device. There's nowhere in the book that says that you have to divide all the faculty into separate subject departments and never have them collaborate. I know wonderful schools which are based on the whole principle of collaboration. There's nothing in the book that says you have to keep different age groups apart from each other. Actually, on the contrary, people learn all kinds of things from each other. It's a very linear system. The assumption is that we can anticipate the lives that our students are going to lead, and on that basis, we limit their options. For example, in most school systems, there's a much bigger emphasis on mathematics and sciences than on the arts. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not arguing for a moment against the importance of mathematics and sciences. There's some of those creative disciplines you can encounter. But some people come alive in music or in dance or in art. That's who they are. And if they're deprived of that opportunity, they may never discover who they are or what they can do. It all contributes to this narrow filter, which starts to sort people out and leave people behind. If you're really interested in the bottom line arguments for education, creativity should be at the top of the list. I think if Idaho were to really engage with the realities and the opportunities of a creative education system, the world will beat a path to your door to see how you did it. Because the one thing you can be sure of is you have immense talent in the state. So we need an education system that teaches some things in common, but we need a system as well which recognizes that every student is different, and each has a different sense of possibility and a different life lying ahead of them. And education has to engage their potential and give them the confidence to move forward from education into the world that they can help to shape and create. I believe that all the challenges we face can be met. They are the consequence of human creativity, and we can meet them by getting more creative. We won't meet them by getting less creative. We'll be overtaken by them. No, we have to look as best we can into the future and engage the genius of human beings to have lives that have meaning and purpose and build communities which have integrity and vitality. And we may not be able to predict the future, I don't think we can, but we can anticipate it. And if we recognize the organic nature of human communities, that schools are like great organisms, they thrive under certain conditions. All people thrive under certain conditions and they shrivel under other conditions. That the great job of education, whether you're a superintendent or the commissioner for education or the state governor, your job, any more than if you're a head teacher, is not command and control. Let people do their job. Let students learn. But create a climate in which they'll do it. It's not command and control, it's climate control. And if you get the climate right for education, people will flourish. They always did. What kills it off is when you set the temperature too low and you set the expectations outside the frames in which people can really start to discover what they're capable of. But I think if we get it right, globally, we can look forward optimistically. I think if Idaho takes this conversation seriously, and I think you do, then, as I said, people will beat a path to your door. And we may not be able to predict the future, but I think if we do get it right, we'll collectively create a future that we'll all want to live in.